Good evening, Drew.
I just burned my tongue. Okay. Sorry, I was drinking coffee. Didn't expect you to pick up that fast. Hi.
Fair enough.
Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving?
Not too bad. About yourself?
It was pretty low key, because that's the world we live in now. What'd you do?
We stayed home. I just made a small Thanksgiving dinner for, me, the wife, and the kids. And we just kind of chilled and didn't do a whole heck of a lot. What about you?
Now, kind of the same. We went to my in-laws and just had a really, really small dinner, because they were also on lockdown with the quarantine, with the COVID. My quarantine is officially over. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I feel like a new person, actually. But yeah, we went to the in-laws and had dinner. It was nice. Now, question for you: Are you what do you make for Thanksgiving? Is it just the traditional turkey stuffing, potatoes?
We did even smaller than that this year. The kids don't eat a lot of the sides, so I just made turkey, mashed potatoes, corn casserole, which is something my son really enjoys, and some rolls, and that is what we did.
Okay. But
it was very simple. Yeah.
No, did you say stuffing? I didn't hear stuffing in there.
Nope, we didn't. No stuffing this year. No sweet potatoes. No, just the absolute basics. A very stripped down Thanksgiving.
It sounds exceedingly like the same dinner we had. We had stuffing, but my wife made the corn casserole, and I think otherwise it sounds almost identical, right? But you didn't get fancy. You didn't fry a turkey or do a tofurkey.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I did the most simplest turkey. I just rubbed some oil on the skin and put some just general spices on it and threw it in the oven. And it came out pretty good. So, one of these years I like to brine a turkey. But that was not this year.
It's funny you say that, because I know a guy. He's not a listener, so I'm not gonna say his name. But he was ranting and raving about the fact that he brined a turkey this year for the first time, and it sounds like he's never going back. Now, can you describe, because I cook under protest, what brining a turkey is?
You basically just soak it in salt water for I think mostly.
No. Let me stop you right there. The gentleman that I was talking to, I made that same comment and said, "Oh, so you just throw your turkey in salt water?" And I got one of those hearty. Oh no, Drew, it's not that simple. It sounds like that there's way more to it than that.
I mean, isn't brine by definition just salt water?
I thought so, but I'm the jerk here, okay. Right? I'm the one that doesn't know what he's talking about. But is that literally that's what you did? You get the turkey, you unwrap it, you just throw it in your bathtub full of salt water, and then you pull it out at some point, or?
Yeah, I think you have to keep it cold, which is one of the key things. Is you have to keep it submerged and keep it. My Safari just crashed.
Well, I was just going to ask you about your M1 Mac impression, so we can just jump right into that, or Big Sur, one of the two.
That was weird. That's never happened before. Yeah, Thanksgiving. It's a good thing. Eat lots of food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I finally got my wife hooked up with the M1 MacBook Pro.
Okay.
I haven't used
MacBook Air.
Yep. There's. Yeah, MacBook Air. My bad. Okay. Sorry, I'm dealing with dialogues for problem report for Safari. Go ahead. You good? Submit that. You submit that now. So I think the biggest kind of compliment that I could get is she no longer complains about her MacBook Pro. Her MacBook. Sorry. She had a MacBook Pro, now she has a MacBook Air. I'm sorry. I'm 3 drinks in this evening.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it is Friday.
It is Friday.
It is.
I used it a little bit. So mostly my experience was just kind of running Migration Assistant, getting all of her old stuff to copy over. launch a few apps to make sure things were working correctly and everything was there. And oh my God, Drew, this thing is ridiculously fast.
Really?
Just comically fast. Like,
well, hold on a second, okay? Because I'm grateful for the fact that you have access to an M1 Mac, because I am like just inching closer to buying one for myself. But what I was really sort of hoping for here, and maybe with the experience that you've had with it so far, what I'm really curious about is, can you talk sort of about, the migration process of moving from her old MacBook Air, which seems like it was a little bit bloated, right? It had a bunch of stuff on it. You moved all that over, but in your time with the machine, did you like encounter anything that just flat out didn't work?
No. So I'll start with Migration Assistant. It's actually really easy. As you're first setting up the Mac, it basically says like, hey, do you want to set this up as a new Mac? Do you want a copy for my Time Machine backup, which I could have done? Use a Migration Assistant. So I picked Migration Assistant, and really what that entails is launching Migration Assistant on the old Mac and saying, hey, I'm going to use this to make to set up a new Mac. You press a few buttons, you watch some progress bars, and you're done. It took a few hours. I let it ran overnight because I don't like watching progress bars. And it worked absolutely perfectly. All of her photos came over, all of her files, all of her applications, everything just came over. Everything was exactly where she left it. She uses Chrome a lot because she uses Google Classroom. She was still signed into Chrome and all of her websites. Like, there was no disruption of anything. It was absolutely flawless. And I've launched a few things. She uses, Microsoft Word from time to time, which obviously hasn't been optimized for the M1, for the Apple Silicon. The first time you launch an app that is not, native, not a universal app, it basically says, hey, you want to install Rosetta? And then I installed Rosetta. And then, like, the first time you launch an app, it takes a little bit because I think it does all of the translation up front, right? So whatever the magic it does it once. Then after that, you would not even know that it was running through Rosetta. It runs just comically fast. And this is my first real using of it, where I literally said shit out loud because it was so fast. So she has a lot of home videos on there, and these are videos that were pulled off of mini DV tapes, right? They're not optimized, right? They're big files, and I'm used to when I click on these things, it launches in QuickTime, which is still a thing on the Mac apparently. And it's never been slow, but that launching an app and you watch it bounce in the dock, maybe just once, maybe twice,
little happy bounce.
It opened so fast, it literally blew me away. It was I double clicked the file, and QuickTime was up. It was absolutely mind blowing.
Interesting.
It's one of those things where it's so fast you think that must not have worked, but it did.
But but here's the thing though, and I really want, and it's your wife's computer, so I'm not gonna ask you to do this, but what I really want is I want you to try your favorite terminal program, or I want you to try some things that you use for work and sort of see how that goes, right? That's what I want to know, because that's literally kind of what's holding me back. Because we're going to talk about Big Sur here in a minute, but because I waited to the last possible minute to upgrade because of work, and I don't know how I feel about it so far, Paul. But
okay,
we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so it's ridiculously fast. Battery life, I assume, is amazing.
I mean, we really haven't tested that. She spends a lot of her time just at her desk with it plugged in. Not a lot of battery needs at the moment. She does do a lot of screen recording. She uses a Chrome plugin, an application called Screencastify.
Gross.
He says with confidence. It's fine. It's what works. It integrates well with Google Classroom. It's free for her right now. She likes using it. The moment when she finishes the recording, and it kind of does I'm guessing it's re-encoding the video to be smaller. That goes faster. So yeah, all in all, she's pretty happy with it.
Now, Now here's the question though. Here's the question I would have based on your time with it. How close are you closer, about the same, or a little bit further away from upgrading your own Mac to the new chips?
Closer. I have to admit, it's closer. It's like, do I really use VMware Fusion that much? To run my VMs, I could probably get away with it. I would like something with a bigger screen.
Right. Well, that's the other thing, right? Like, there's
mm-hmm.
only, 3 models that you can get the M1 on right now, and it's the Air, the 13 Pro, and the Mini, right?
Yeah, but I tell you what, like, when they come out with, like, a 16-inch replacement that has more than 2 ports, ooh, that's gonna be tempting, because, I mean, let's be honest, like, her MacBook Air is going to be the slowest Apple Silicon Mac ever made. Like, let's like, it's only going to get faster from here. Oh, it's real tempting. And to know that the battery life is also there, even though we really haven't tested that yet, to know that, like, it's ridiculous. Man, it's going to be tempting not to switch.
Yeah, I'm really close because, listen, at the end of the day, I'm sort of like you. I don't use VMware Fusion or any other virtualization app other than the VirtualBox that I think Oracle makes that now. Gross. I use that I use that and it works. It works fine. Like, I can do some pretty cool networking stuff with it when I have to, and I haven't had to because I'm doing less and less with SQL Server these days to where I need Windows anymore. But the only other thing that I think that doesn't work yet is Docker. Now, I'll be honest, I have other ways to run Docker near me that I don't need to do it on my Mac. I like doing it on my Mac. I like the fact that there's containerized apps and things that I can use and develop, because I'll be honest, I do a fair amount of development these days. And I'm writing code that is being deployed to, like, Azure Functions, or I'm writing code that are being deployed to containers that then run on Azure Functions. So, like, I do a lot of work in the data engineering space, and Azure Functions have kind of become the lever by which I move the entire world of data, because they play so nicely with other things, whether that's like Data Factory or Databricks or Synapse or other stuff. So I do a lot of that, and I still do a fair bit of development to where I probably won't miss having a virtual machine on my computer, but I will miss having Docker. So I'm watching very closely to see if they can somehow make that work. I kind of get the impression it's going to be a while, if ever, but I'm hoping that they get there.
From what I understand is, like, the key underpinnings of those kind of technologies are already built into Mac OS on the M1 Macs. It's just a matter of, the all these applications, taking advantage of them. So I think it's going to be sooner than later. It's just going to be, I think what's going to come down to it is, like, there's going to be some early builds that are maybe work for 80% of the use cases, and then it's going to take some time for them to shore it up and make it, production ready.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be quicker than that. But we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very close because I have now had my MacBook Pro for over 2 years, and I'm going to be looking to upgrade it. I'm sort of in a holding pattern because I want to see when they announce, number one, when will they have the 16-inch MacBook Pros, and two, when will I be able to run Docker? Once either or hopefully both of those things happen, I think it'll be time for me to upgrade.
Yeah, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't at that point. These things are just so fast.
Well, what's crazy to me is that it's getting very glowing reviews from places that I normally go to read about things that have nothing to do with Macs. Like, for example, I was out reading on AnonTech, which they do a pretty good job of tearing down all hardware, whether it's, x86 based or ARM based or Mac based or whatever. They do a really good job, and they put the new M1 Macs through their paces, and the conclusion that they came to is it's like, listen, this is every bit as good as anything AMD or Intel makes, if not better, depending on your workload.
Yeah.
And they sip power. The whole big and little core thing is kind of the wave of the future.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see if Intel or AMD start to do that sort of core specialization, I guess is the lack of a better word.
Right.
It would be very curious to me to see that. So I'm very close. They seem to be just absolutely amazing. I mean, I guess I wasn't expecting them to fail. I think my worst case scenario was, it's okay, but it sounds like it's pretty awesome. So I'm in the market.
Yeah. I think Apple's onto something here. Like, and it's not a surprise. Like the A14, the chips that have been going into the iPads, like especially like in single core performance, like in the benchmarks, you've already been outperforming all but the highest of the highest, like Intel and AMD chips. I mean, yeah, of course, like they're going to use the same. That's going to be the base for their Mac chips. So of course they're going to be fast, and of course they're going to sip power, and not to overlook these things, because I mean, there's not a lot of workflows I think that use this kind of stuff now, but like there's also like the neural engine that's built into there, and I guess like there's a new version of TensorFlow for the M1 that is like just like 17 times faster on the M1 than it was before, like because it's taking advantage of this neural engine. So like, yeah, these things can do stuff that the Intel and AMD, these general purpose chips, just aren't able to do yet.
Oh. Yeah. All right. So let's do an open face compliment sandwich here, because as good as the M1 Macs are, where are you at with Big Sur?
I really like it.
Really? Okay.
I like it a lot.
Okay, so I mentioned this on the last podcast that I was deliberately waiting to upgrade because I was under the gun for some work deadlines, and I didn't want to risk any kind of OS upgrade during that time. Well, last week was my last week of work before. I've been off this entire week, and I don't know where the week has gone. I literally have not done a thing, okay? But the last thing I did before I turned off my computer on Friday was I did the upgrade. I logged back in to make sure that like nothing was destroyed. I was satisfied, and I shut down. I got some notification boxes, noticed that, it's a little harder to find the thing to dismiss them. And that was the extent of my kind of experience so far. So what do you like about it?
I mean, it's not radically different, right? It's still visibly and it's still recognizable as, the Mac operating system. I just like the improvements to, like the window Chrome and the toolbars, and I don't know, just everything feels like it's a little less cramped and a little bit more roomy. I know a lot of people have been giving Apple a lot of shit for the redesigned, alert boxes and things like that, and how they're just vertical squares, more like iOS. I kind of like it. I mean, it's not a radical redeparture, except for messages. Messages is so much better now. I cannot believe how like messages actually is like fully featured now, finally, on the Mac. Everything just feels a little nicer. Like, I don't know whether they've just realized that Macs have bigger screens now and things are higher resolution most of the time, and kind of just like let everything out a little bit, so everything feels a little less cramped. I did Control Center, which is, a new feature kind of up there in the Mac menu bar. And hopefully that's something where I'm hoping they're going to allow third parties to kind of start using Control Center and kind of get rid of all these little, my sea of menu bar icons, and let them go into Control Center. So here's my question, Drew. What do you not like about it?
Okay. So there were two things that annoyed me. And I don't know if this is like a bug or if this is working as intended. Closed is fixed. Here's what happened. So I shut down the computer on Friday. And on Monday, I had to boot it up to get something out of my email that was not work related. So I booted up the computer and it asked me to log in. But the login screen was like, you need a new password.
Oh.
I was like, no, I don't. Like, I didn't type it in wrong. I didn't like type it too many times wrong or anything like that. It was like, you need a new password. And I have this weird sense of deja vu that the last time I upgraded my OS, I had something similar happen. And I think, right? I don't know. I don't know how this all works, but I think what's happening here is that due to the policy that is applied to my computer through my work, that might have something to do with it. So when I first did the upgrade and the computer rebooted and it asked me to log in, it didn't have a problem with that. Like I used the same password and everything was fine. When I booted it up again, it was like, you need a new password. But I typed in the same password twice, once is the new one and once to confirm. And it was like, bleep, bloop. All right, you're good. And like, I just sort of went on with my day. The next thing I noticed was it changed my desktop wallpaper. I
didn't have that problem.
It changed the primary, well, not the primary. It changed because like at my desk, I have my glorious 5K display that I bought from you. I have that display right in front of me, and then off to the left, I have my MacBook Pro with the lid open, and that is like my secondary monitor that literally does nothing but run Spotify and Teams. Like that is its purpose. It's the only thing that runs on that display. That background got changed. The background on the 5K displays and the virtual desktops that I use on that, those were fine. Nothing changed there. That was annoying, but I can get past that. But it's just those little like annoying things that I can't tell if it did that on purpose or not that just kind of mystify me a little bit.
I didn't have any of those issues. All my wallpapers stay the same across like all three of my virtual desktops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, the virtual desktop's completely fine. The secondary monitor, completely fine. Nothing changed on that. It was only on the Mac that things got weird. All right, on the actual like laptop display, that things got weird. The notifications are going to take some getting used to. I never use Safari anymore. So, well, that's not true. I use Safari for personal stuff, and I use Edge Chromium for work stuff. I haven't really noticed anything that's going to impact my daily workflow yet, other than the notifications. But I don't know. I like I said, I really haven't used it all day yet. I think Monday, when I am back in the office and like plowing through hundreds of emails, like I looked at my phone. I have like 350 unread emails right now, and it's causing me a higher level. It's causing me a lot of anxiety. I'm not gonna lie, because I'll have to spend the first few hours of my day on Monday like sorting through them. Like, what are the ones I really care about? And like that's like an 80-20 rule, right? There's probably gonna be 30 or 40 emails that I really care about in there. And the rest I'm just going to have to read sort of carefully and file them away in case I need them for later. So I don't know. Monday will be the big day that I kind of figure all that out.
Got it.
But let me ask you something though. Like what's so great about Big Sur? Right. I understand that it is the hardware refresh. It is officially the OS that sort of supports the M1 Max, but like, For me, who's not on an M1 Mac, like, what am I going to notice on Big Sur?
I have no idea. Let's look at let's see what Apple says about the features.
Right, like I don't know. I mean, there's an obvious new sheen of stuff. Right, there's like,
let's see. Okay, updated menu bar.
Okay.
Lighter window appearance. I'm summarizing. I'll put this link in the show notes.
Right.
New and updated sounds. I do like the new sounds.
I haven't heard those yet.
Everything's different. Everything's different, but it's good. Control center, updated notifications, redesigned widgets.
Safari got a boost. Maps got a boost. Messages got a boost.
Yeah, messages got an update. Maps got an update. automatic device switching now also works for your Mac, which is nice.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, I mean, for your AirPods. So they introduced this feature with iOS 14 where if you leave it on, it'll try to be smarter about auto connecting to your AirPods if they're in your ears and you like launch an app that does sound. That now also works for your Mac, so things will switch more automatically between devices. That's about it. I think the biggest thing is just, the updated kind of UI. I guess weather got better voice memos. There's a lot of features. There's a lot of features in here. The visual update, I think, is the biggest change. Everything else is pretty much the same. It's just nice to be on the latest thing. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, I know. I'm right there with you. I'm right there
I like
with
the
you.
new and shiny.
Yeah. Okay. A couple other little pieces of random follow-up here. I took your suggestion and I started listening to My Brother and Me. I'm in love. I've already listened to like 5 episodes. I'm laughing my balls off at that podcast. It's so good, Paul.
It's so good.
It's so good, and it made my day instantly better when I started listening to it. So if you're one of our, I don't know, what are we up to, 60 listeners? If you're one of our 60 listeners and you want like an actual entertaining podcast, stop listening to us and go listen to My Brother and Me. It's an exceptionally good podcast. I'm starting to sort of pick up on what they do on that show. Oh my God, the ad reads. Yeah. The ad reads are worth it alone, right? Like I listened to the one that you mentioned about the Joker, about how Batman can kill the Joker. But they did one for they did one for what's the name of that glasses company that sells glasses online?
Oh, Warby Parker.
Yeah. I don't want to repeat it because you should really listen to it in at your own pace. But oh my God, like that was so good. It was so good. It was a Halloween episode. It was really good. I just wanted to thank you for that because that was a solid reco, and all the good podcasts all the good shows that you recommend to me. Let me bring that back a second. All the good podcasts I listen to are on recommendations from you, by the way. You are literally batting 1,000 with recommending podcasts to me. You have not
spectacular.
Yet steered me wrong. And I think that My Brother and Me might be my favorite podcast right now. I mean, I still am a huge Do by Friday fan. I still listen to Accidental Tech podcasts. I still listen to all the other ones that we brought up on this show before. But it is just an absolutely fantastic podcast, and all of our listeners should go listen to it. Because if you like us, the chances are you're going to like them.
Yeah, they're just incredibly funny. And like what I've really enjoyed is if you're ever bored and you want to just destroy your algorithm on YouTube, just search for MBMBaM on YouTube. Because there is this entire like fan culture that does like little animations for some of the bits. So it gets you exposure to some of the funniest bits that I think they've ever done, and have kind of just, 1 to 2 to 3 minutes, just short little things. I'd highly recommend that. Just put MBMBaM into YouTube and go nuts. I do that a little bit every day now, and just watch some stuff that I haven't listened to, and just continue to laugh and enjoy those 3 brothers so much. I don't know, like they're literally like well into the 500s in episodes, and they're still rocking it, and they're still funny. So give them a listen. It's so good.
Yeah, solid thumbs up. Solid thumbs up from the 2 of us. Okay. Shifting topics here for a second. So, Paul, according to my calendar, which, assuming all things remain equal, we are approaching Cyberpunk 2077 launching on all major platforms, coming to a video game console or PC near you on December 10th, which is coming up on 2 weeks. And I know that you and I are both very excited.
I am. I'm very excited.
Yep. There's been a slew of new gameplay trailers. Have you seen them?
I have. I've watched all of the the Night City Wires that they do where they kind of do some interviews with the development staff.
Well, hold on.
Well,
hold on, because there was one that came out just this week that kind of showed bits and pieces from like one of the intro missions. Did you see that?
I think I did. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I am too. The game looks really, really good.
Looks solid as hell. Now, the bits and pieces of the intro they showed. So apparently there's going to be like 3 sort of character origin stories you can choose from. You can either choose from like a nomad, which is like a person who just, wanders around the post-apocalyptic landscape that isn't Night City. You can choose
very vehicle focused.
Very vehicle focused. Like. There's also the kind of corporate
corpo,
yeah. Right? You're a person who works for a corporation, kind of goes undercover or something. They haven't released a lot of details for spoilers' sake, and I'm okay with that. And then there's like the street kid one, I think is the other one, or you're like a gang member or something. I don't know. But they showed some bits and pieces of the gameplay of the Nomad sort of intro, and wow, it looks really good. Like you could just tell that there's so much attention to detail, not just from like what's like the graphic and the art direction, right? Because graphics and art direction are 2 different things, but like the scripting of the stories, the character voices, and sort of what's going on, and like the actual scripting that they're doing, you can tell that they are putting an immense amount of effort into this. And that's not surprising, right? Because CD Projekt Red, who's making this, they made The Witcher 3, which is just an amazingly dense game. Did you ever play that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
It is. It's really good.
It did take me like, that game took me like 3 or 4, like, I had like 3 false starts where I'd play the game and go, because, I mean, let's be honest, the combat in that game is...
That's not why you're there. But
combat is a very big focus of the beginning, which I think is a disservice to the game. And that kind of put me off a few times. But once I got in, and the story kind of hooked me. Like they are not afraid for complexity, like both in the mechanics of the game and the mechanics of the story, but also like the depth of like the emotional impact of the story. Like they can get really complex as well. And so I was pleased as punch when they announced this game. In 2003,
right?
I don't know when they announced it.
It's been a while.
So now, I was super excited when they announced that they were doing this game because I played the pen and paper role-playing game that it was based off of when I was in high school. So, yeah, I was super, super excited for this game to come out.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that's where I wanted this to go, right? So you have sort of like floated the idea of playing the Cyberpunk pen and pencil game or pen and paper game.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And they just released, I'm actually holding the book right now. I'm going to hit it against the microphone. There. They just released Cyberpunk Red. And I got my physical copy today in the mail. And I've been perusing the digital copy off of Drive-Thru RPG for about a week now. Yeah, and I'm kind of excited for it. It's original, like back in the day, there was Cyberpunk 2020, and I think it kind of came out in the early 90s. And it was a perfectly fine role-playing game. It was very much a product of its time, though. Like, I think tabletop RPGs have got a little bit more polished and a little bit more grown up in the last couple of decades. That was the material that, that got CD Projekt Red excited. And when they started working with our Talsorian Games, the owners of the Cyberpunk franchise. What's interesting about Cyberpunk Red, which you would think that, with 2077 coming out, that the new kind of revised, tabletop RPG would be set in kind of that same setting, that same year, but it's not. It's actually set in 2045. So kind of like halfway in between the 2020 and the 2077. Yeah, but it looks like the game looks like it has a lot of potential.
Huh. So I never played any of the Cyberpunk games. I've been aware of them. I've seen the books on the shelves at various places that sell books like this. I've seen them online. I've never played one of these games. Now, obviously, I'm a huge Shadowrun fan, and I feel like you can't be aware of Shadowrun and not be aware of Cyberpunk. It's sort of vice versa. So for someone like me who's coming from like a Shadowrun background, like, just be blunt with me, do you think I would enjoy playing in a Cyberpunk game?
I do.
Okay.
I absolutely do. So, much like, so Cyberpunk and Shadowrun kind of have their same, like the same roots, right? It's kind of, that, dark future, corporations kind of, rule the world, very noir, very, very dark, very gritty. And both of them kind of have the general, like, you can play both Cyberpunk and Shadowrun in a lot of different ways, but kind of the default setting is, you're criminals doing crimes for money. In Shadowrun, you're a shadow runner. In Cyberpunk, you're an edge runner. So very, very similar. The big difference, right, is, I would say, obviously Shadowrun has a big difference because, it introduces the whole concept of magic, right? And elves and trolls and orcs and wizards and spirits and stuff like that, right? Cyberpunk doesn't have that at all, right? It takes all of that fantasy elements and just ignores it. It's maybe a little bit more, I guess maybe the word I'm looking for is campy. Like, it's kind of like an edge runner is not just a criminal, right? They're supposed to be these people that are just living on the, the height of fashion and style and, like kind of the kings of the streets, which I think is just like a little bit of flair that Shadowrun doesn't have. But at the end of the day, it's that same kind of, the feel of it, right? They're definitely in the same genre, right? It's the cities are different, the corporations are different, but the same essence of both games. They share a common ancestor, if that makes sense.
Okay. So if I wanted to start playing, then, right? I know that they have the Cyberpunk Red book, right? But
Yep.
they have the other. Well, hold on a second. I'm doing this wrong. There's the Jumpstart kit, right? Does the Jumpstart kit have the core rules?
No. So the Jumpstart kit came out probably a year before the Cyberpunk Red, the real rules kind of came out. And it was just a teaser, right? It had no rules for character creation or advancement. It just had, a handful of pre-made characters and enough rules that you can kind of try out the system and see how things go. Where the Cyberpunk Red source book, it has everything you would need to run, like I say the Jumpstart kit would be good for like running like a one shot, where Cyberpunk Red is the full game. And let me tell you, I don't buy a lot of paper books anymore outside of tabletop RPGs because I still like having a book. I always buy the digital copy too because it's nice to read it on my iPad or do a search. I thought Wizards of the Coast did a really nice job with, the D&D 5th edition and those books, but this book just knocks it out of the water. It's, about 450 pages, good index, well constructed, beautiful artwork. The font is actually legible. I think a lot of like RPG books try to like cram down the font to the smallest thing absolutely possible so they can save on pages. This book does not do that. It's a extremely readable font. There's enough margins in the side to put your thumb and hold the book open. And this, and one of the nicest things this book does is it duplicates things where it makes sense. So like what I keep coming back to is there's a couple chapters in the beginning for making your character and stuff like that. And right in those chapters, there will be like, all characters in Cyberpunk Red, they're going to have a little bit of cyberware, some sort of implants. They're going to have a gun. They're going to have armor. So like those tables of gear are right in the character creation. And they're also in the back in the gear chapter. And the same thing for like, programs and things for netrunners. Like it's not afraid to take up more room when it makes sense and kind of duplicate things, which I think is a really nice touch.
Okay.
Now, like, and as far as like crunch goes, and if you're not like, if you're not a board game or tabletop game nerd, crunch basically refers to the amount of rules. It's like, I think Shadowrun has gone too far. Like there is just so much crunch in that game. I think it makes the game almost unplayable. It's not as light as like a Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, for example, I think there are like 60 some skills. But I think it does a good balance. I'm actually kind of curious to see how the game runs. I may actually watch some actual plays to kind of or listen to, or depending on what I can find, to see how the game kind of runs. But it looks really interesting so far. I've read about half of the book so far and browsed through the rest. Yeah, it has potential. It has potential.
Okay. Now, when do you think you're gonna maybe dive into this? Like when can?
Oh, that's a good question, Drew. Obviously, I need to finish reading the book. I think I've gotten through just about all of like the crunchy chapters. So I've written about, character creation and combat and, basic, how to use skills. The second half of the book is mostly about the setting, which I think is probably the more important half of the book if you're going to be running a game. And there's some things I need to reread. Like the net running chapter is, I don't think I've grasped. Net running is basically hacking. I think there's a few key concepts there that I haven't grasped, which I'm kind of thinking if I, watch some actual plays, I might get a better idea of how things work and how everything comes together. But it's definitely scratching an itch that I've been needing to scratch for a while. Like I also really enjoy Shadowrun, and I went back to those books, fairly recently, and it's the system's just not there. I just think it's too complicated.
So
I love the setting, but the rules are just.
So when did it peak? When did Shadowrun peak? 4th or 5th edition, or 3rd edition? Because I know what my answer would be.
I think 4th edition, or what was technically the 30th anniversary edition?
4th edition, I think.
Was that 4th?
I think. Google, keep me honest.
I think that was 4th,
or maybe it was 5th. Hold on.
No, 5th was definitely after that.
Yeah, I think it is 4th. I don't know. If you're a listener, you can yell at us on Twitter. But I'm pretty sure it's 4th edition. See, yeah. I think it peaked with 3rd edition.
Okay.
Just because 3rd edition was like, I think I played a little bit of 2nd edition. I did not play 1st edition. I did play a little bit of 2nd edition, and I played a lot of 3rd edition. Like my buddy who GM'd a bunch of our games, I think he literally had every source book, like every single one. And I have a fair amount of them as well. And I just remember that I had invested so much time and money in 3rd edition that I was sort of put off by the fact that there was a 4th edition. I mean, I came to like 4th edition, don't get me wrong, But I had so many cool tools and books and everything for third edition that it just has a really special place in my heart. And like those source books are still just entertaining to read now because most of those were written in the 90s and it's 2020. Yeah. So like going back and rereading some of those is a little bit interesting. If just the stuff that's happened. I don't know.
Yeah. But their version of the future and how they had to rewrite some stuff, like both Cyberpunk and Shadowrun, like their version of what computers looked like was pre-smartphone.
Right. Right. Like they had cyberdecks and now we have phones that are way more powerful than those cyberdecks, right? Like it's like
Yeah. And that's actually one thing interesting about Cyberpunk Red is the setting itself is after. I might say some of this shit wrong because I'm not super. I haven't really delved into the setting too much, but it's after the fourth corporate war. So think like the corporate wars are really like, you know, the equivalents of world wars, like in our world. Like they're the biggest organizations in the world fighting each other. It's after the fourth of those. And like the red literally refers to the color of the sky because the sky is still tinged red from all the nuclear weapons that were detonated during the fourth corporate war. And during that time, like the what we would call the internet has basically been destroyed. So it's a lot of like, you have to like there's not a lot of global communication anymore because that part's been destroyed. So I think it's kind of an interesting take on that, you know, like to me, it sounds like it's really like the lowest point of this dystopian future. And that's what Cyberpunk Red kind of takes place in, which is cool. Like I like, you know, I like the darkness. It's good.
Okay, so one last question about Cyberpunk then. So if I wanted to kind of get up to speed then, I only really need the Cyberpunk Red book, right?
Yeah, what I would do is I would go on to drive through RPG, and I think it's $30, and you can buy the PDF, and it gives you like the character sheet and the PDF version of the book. I would start going through there. It also like Shadowrun, where it's got a couple pieces of fiction. I have a funny I don't want to do a lot of spoilers, but I really feel that R. Talsorian, the makers of this game, have worked really close lately with CD Projekt Red as they made Cyberpunk 2077. And I think some of the fiction is kind of meant to set up the video game. Like, you know, the main character of the first piece of, like, the first thing you read when you open the book is a piece of fiction. And the main character is Johnny Silverhand, which is obviously makes an appearance in Cyberpunk 2077. So I think there's definitely, I think they're being smart and they're doing some tie-ins there as well. Yeah, I would just get that book. And if you like physical copies of the book, I would, you know, I mean, the core rule book in print is $60, but it's worth it. I think it's a wonderful, high quality book. Obviously, if you can, I would recommend buying it from your local friendly game store. If you can't, there are many places online where you can buy it.
Really? I can't get it from Amazon?
I don't know. Can you? Let's find out.
I feel like I should be able to.
I bought it directly from the publisher, R. Talsorian. Yeah, they have it on there for $45, which is cheaper than I bought it for. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna get it, and we're gonna figure it out because I would like to read it and get up to speed on it, and then I know we're currently playing D&D and like running 2 games, and playing 2 games is always like difficult. When that runs its course, I really think we should give that a shot. I think by then we'll both have played, you know, a fair amount of the actual Cyberpunk game, and that'll help immerse us in the world and probably make us want to play it more. But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, To be honest, I probably have enough room in my heart to run 2 games at once, but we'll see.
See, if I were 15 years younger, I probably could. And I hate to sound like that old man, but my life, just with the way I work now and stuff going on at home, like there's just I can't. Like I would love to, but I can't.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I mean, as is now, right? We're playing D&D every 2 weeks, and I think that's kind of my speed right now, because I don't think I could do that every Friday night anymore. Maybe it's because we're doing it remote. Maybe it'd be different if we were all around a table having a good time, but I can't stay focused long enough to do that. Yeah. You know, because
I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna drop a link. Hold on.
Like for me, right? Like smartphones, I think, ruined a lot of tabletop gaming, because now you have people that are so easily distracted at the table. You miss out on stuff. You miss out on dialogue, and I'm guilty of that. But I'm literally sitting in front of a computer. It's not even a smartphone thing at this point, right? It's like I'm doing all kinds of things.
Yeah, I can't wait till we can go back to face to face. I just dropped a link to Monster Fight Club, and they are a company that makes miniatures, and they have.
Paul, why do you do this to me? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me?
I haven't bought any of these yet, but I've almost bought all of them. So it is literally just a collection of Cyberpunk Red inspired minis.
Oh my God.
I've literally almost now, like, the thing is, like, they're just gray plain minis. There's nothing fancy about them. You would have to, I mean, I think I'm too old to paint miniatures. So I probably would just.
Are they plastic or resin?
I think I don't know. Are they resin?
They're made from durable plastic and include a
durable plastic.
Base. Okay.
Yeah.
Just the detail on them made me think they were resin.
Yeah.
Because like the Kingdom Death monster miniatures are the most detailed miniatures I have, and those are resin.
Yeah.
But these look pretty good too.
I've almost bought all of these just to have them, because I know at some point this, the pandemic's going to end and we can start doing face-to-face stuff again, and I would just love to have these minis. So good. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
All right. We're coming up on time here, but there's a couple more things I want to quickly mention here. On my vacation, I binged all of the Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Have you watched any of that?
I don't even know what this is.
All right. So if you Google it, you're probably going to get a lot of pictures of a really pretty redheaded woman playing chess, and that is a large part of what this show is. It is about her learning to play chess and like kick everybody's butt at it. You would be making a grave mistake if you look at that and thought, nah, I don't really want to watch this, because I don't want to watch like the hero's arc of her learning to play chess and beat everybody. It's a lot more than that, my friend. It is a lot more than that.
I'm going to add it to my list right now.
Without giving anything away, it starts a little bit slow. There's no chess happening, I think, for the entire first episode.
Okay.
As somebody who likes to play chess, is not very good at chess, I found it extremely entertaining. It's a period piece, takes place during the 60s, and it sort of follows the journey of this girl from like kind of childhood onto early adulthood, and how she sort of, man, I really can't even talk about it without giving a few things away. It's just best to experience it. The actual chess playing things are pretty good. I know enough about chess to kind of see what's going on and the terms they use and what's happening. But you don't. That's certainly not a requirement to watch this. It's at times gut wrenching. Again, for reasons I don't want to go into here. But my solid recommendation here is that as we're getting into the holidays and we're getting into the colder months, if you're looking for something new to watch and you have a Netflix account, or you're friends with somebody that will lend you a login to Netflix, please go watch this. I think it's only like 6 or 7 episodes. It's not a very long series. It's just exceptional. It was really good. I really liked it.
I added it to the list. I will definitely check it out.
All right. Last topic for the show. We are a month from Christmas. I I want to start having the discussions about what we're doing for each other for Christmas this year, because last year you won Christmas. You were the Christmas boy. You won Christmas. I'm looking to redeem myself. We're gonna set some more rules this year, though.
Okay, I'm fine with rules. You bought me a lifestyle. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to wear my lifestyle to any shows because of gestures and everything. But soon I will. But okay, I'm all for more rules.
All right, okay, all right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because you went above and beyond last year. Okay. All right, so here's the rules of the game this year. The rules of the game this year are hard limit of $150, no more. Okay. That's it. You don't spend more than that, because you spent well above that last year. I want to call that out.
Okay.
Absolutely not. $150 is the max, and in fact, bonus points on the Christmas scorecard for every dollar you spend under $150.
Okay.
All right, and we'll tally up the points at the end, and whoever has the most Christmas points wins. But okay, so Paul, what are some things? Okay, so just real quick, we don't have to spend a ton of time on this. Just hear me out. What are some things that I certainly listen to the podcast every week, and I know you listen to it while you edit it, sort of, but I sort of have some rough ideas in my head of some things that I know that you would like, right? I know this.
Okay.
But what are some things that maybe you've put on? Well, no, let me rephrase. What are some things that you didn't tell family and relatives that you would like? Things that you're thinking about. Just give me some ideas here, bud. Just help me out a little bit.
I'm in the same boat as you. Since we have kids and my wife's sister have kids, our Christmas has really become, don't buy anything for us and just buy stuff for the kids.
Okay.
So for me, Christmas isn't that big of a deal, because I'm like you. If I want something, I generally just buy it. I mean, obviously, we talk a lot about board games. We talk a lot about comics. I don't know what I would ask for. Drew. I don't know.
Okay, all right, it's okay. It's okay.
This is tough.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't have a good answer either, right? And I didn't bring it up this episode. I got in a lot of trouble for last week's shenanigans. That's all I'm going to say about it. There were a lot of people who were very unhappy with me with last week's episode. I'm just going to leave it at that. None of those things are acceptable for me, by the way. I almost prepared a statement to read on the air today, but I didn't. Just
so I can't buy anything off your Christmas list. Got it.
No, right. You can't. Don't do it. But I'm taking it nobody's sent in ideas then, right? Because we didn't.
No.
Okay. Nobody listens to us. It's fine. But anyway, yeah, I don't really have any ideas either, and I still sort of don't. I just sort of punted with people in my life that want to buy me gifts. I'll just give me a gift card to Micro Center. It won't go to waste. That's fine.
Right.
But yeah, I've really been kind of racking my brain a little bit, Paul, and I have a few little ideas for you.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. If you think of anything that really has been tickling your fancy, you be sure and let Daddy know, and we'll take care of things.
Okay. I will do that.
But for planning purposes, because we are getting into the Christmas months now, we should plan to do our Christmas exchanges. Ooh! Looking at the calendar, we could do it either Christmas Eve or the week before, because those are both Thursdays. So what do you want to do? We should talk about this.
I mean, I don't have a problem. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere. I don't have a problem recording on Christmas Eve.
I could do it. So Christmas Eve for me is usually when I do three things. I wrap presents while drinking scotch and watching Die Hard. So those three things happen at the same time. So assuming...
we could always record a day early and do it on Wednesday.
I'm thinking Wednesday might be better because I just feel like
Okay.
we're probably going to go to my in-laws on
Yeah.
Christmas Eve or back to my parent. I don't know. I don't know if we'll be allowed to travel then, but back to my parents. Yeah, Wednesday might be the better day, quite frankly.
Okay.
So all right, so the 23rd, right? We need to have everything for each other by the 23rd. Okay. Virtual handshaking, right?
Okay. Done.
All right, settled. So virtual Christmas, the 23rd. Got it. Okay. Wow, this has been an episode. What do you say we wrap this one up?
Yeah, let's do that. You know where to find us. Doingtheirbest.com. We're Doing Best Pod on Twitter. You can reach me on Twitter at Paul Baylor. That's BAHLER. And where can we find you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Pittsburgh, PITTFURG, and sometimes on Twitch at PITTFURG.
Awesome.
All right, everybody.
Thanks for listening.